Hello and welcome to Summit 2020 by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. The Summit is a platform where leaders, innovators, and pioneers share their perspective on how to best build a circular economy, an economy that is resilient and regenerative by design. I'm Sander de Vreet. I'm leading the New Plastics Economy initiative at the Foundation, and I'm delighted to have with me today Mark Schneider, the CEO of Nestlé, the world's largest food and beverage company. So welcome, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
Today we're going to talk about creating a circular economy as the root cause solution to eradicate plastic pollution. And we'll also hear more from Mark about the circular packaging transformation journey that Nestlé as a company is on. So maybe we'll just dive straight into it. And I'd like to start by picking up on the recent Breaking the Plastic Wave report that was published by the Pew Charitable Trust and Systemic just a couple of weeks ago. This study confirms that there's no one silver bullet solution to end plastic pollution. We will not simply recycle our way out of it, neither will we simply reduce or replace our way out of it, but we'll really need a more comprehensive circular economy approach, combining both upstream solutions to eliminate the plastics that we don't need, as well as downstream solutions to then circulate the plastics that we do need and keep those in our economy. So Mark, can you maybe highlight a few of Nestlé's main activities, both upstream and downstream, and maybe starting upstream?
Yeah, happy to do that. And let me start by saying I also very much applaud this study. I like the fact that it's very balanced. It confirms something that's also a belief we've been holding for a while, that there is not a one-size-fits-all solution. You got to leave no stone unturned. It confirms the size of the challenge. So we do have a sizable problem here ahead of us, but it also makes it clear that eventually this is something that we can get a handle on. And what we have to do here is break with the past and certainly not continue with business as usual. And I can confirm here on Nestlé's behalf, we don't treat it as business as usual. We really want to solve this problem, and we consider it solvable. So when it comes to the upstream side, a lot has to do with new materials. And we want to be sure we take fate in our own hands. So when it comes to the internal side, we started an Institute of Packaging Sciences. We put a lot of research and development effort into qualifying new materials. As you know, product safety and quality are paramount to us. So it's not only about searching for new materials, it's also proving other outside proposals that come to us and making sure that product safety and product quality are being assured. And we're also researching into reuse systems and refill systems and how we can maintain product quality in that setting and make it happen logistically. So that is the inside track. There is the outside track, and that is, of course, not all innovation happens inside our own four walls. There's a lot going on right now in this space, and we want to be sure that we take these outside solutions, we pilot with people. So let me just mention a few names. Loop, as an example, coming from the United States, or Miva, which is a startup company here from Europe. And so we want to be sure we're partnering with as many of these new ventures as possible, and then understand eventually where are the winners, where we need to scale up fast and make a difference.
Sorry, thanks, Mark. That's very interesting. And what about the more downstream part of the solution to improve and scale the recycling of the plastics that we do need and that you do put on the market?
Yeah. And on that one, I mean, we got to start with one pretty humble observation, and that is, as important as recycling is, for a company like us, it won't be possible around the world to get involved in and run recycling systems around the world. Other people will have to do that. What we can do is we can help to inject money into the system. We can help to get it going. And in that spirit, early in the year, we did announce an extra funding to pay a surcharge on recycled material. And in our context, of course, food grade is an important criterion. It needs to be food grade recycled material. There was a scarcity for certain plastics, for example, PP and PE. And so by committing to pay a premium of more than 1.5 billion Swiss francs over the period until 2025, we can really help to get that market going and create some initial momentum. So that's a good example. Over and above that, on a very selective basis, we're also involved, of course, in recycling projects to understand what the state of the art is when it comes to recycling and separation technologies. And then, of course, we're very interested in policy solutions, partnering, for example, with the MacArthur Foundation or with policymakers around the world. This whole notion of the extended producer responsibility and really getting funds into the system to be sure that the circular economy gathers speed is very important to us.
Thanks a lot. And we talked about there not being a silver bullet solution, and that fact, and the fact that we simply need to kind of fundamentally rethink the whole plastic system also makes that we won't solve this issue just from one day to another. And it's really a journey for the whole plastic value chain and all stakeholders involved, but also a journey for Nestlé as a company. I remember working with Nestlé back in 2015 when we started the New Plastics Economy Initiative, but it might be helpful if you could talk a bit to where this journey started for Nestlé.
Absolutely. And look, even before 2015, this whole notion of sustainable packaging has been something that's very dear to our hearts. And I think you're right, it gathered pace in 2015 when we started to partner with the MacArthur Foundation. We made a commitment at the time through more sustainable packaging design. We wanted to save 140,000 metric tons of material between 2015 and 2020. I'm very pleased to report that due to some of the work that had been going on already at the time, we've been able to meet that objective 1 year early by the year 2019. Now, of course, we have some ambitious new objectives underway. As you know, there's the commitment until 2025 to make all our packaging reusable or recyclable. At the moment, we're at 87%, so it's about that last 13% balance here that we need to work on. As we all know, and covering the downstream side, just recyclable alone is not going to be good enough. So we need to be sure that around the world, recycling does gather pace and does get more acceptance. And then, of course, there's the whole virgin plastics commitment. So we want to reduce the use of virgin plastics by 30% until 2025. So these are examples. There's not very much visible change here from 1 year to another, but when you look at it in 3 or 5 year increments, you see that you actually cover a lot of ground. And I think it's that sort of sustained commitment that makes progress here. As you know, this plastics problem was created over several decades, and we got to be realistic for all the effort we're doing here. It'll take a while to get a handle on it. I think that was another thing that was highlighted in the POO study, that it does take some effort and time to get this done, but we will get it done.
You mentioned setting some ambitious targets looking ahead towards 2025, and such as the targets you made through the New Plastics Economy global commitment. And setting such targets is an important milestone on the journey, but is of course not an endpoint in itself, because that's almost like when the real work starts, right? So how does Nestlé translate CEO level targets into on the ground action and real change?
You're absolutely right. So this whole deployment notion is a massive challenge with a company our size. I think this is where our operating focus and also, this Swiss meticulous engineering culture does come in as a strong positive, because we do excel in making things happen on the ground. And so this is something that we put a lot of emphasis on. The whole sustainable packaging area has a lot of visibility inside our organization. Our head of sustainable packaging reports directly to me. And so inside, there's a lot of visibility. We worked out a whole lot of metrics here that we deploy across the geographic zones by which we run our company, and then into each of the 187 markets in which we operate. And so this way, from the ground up, there's a lot of visibility here where we are on track, where we may be ahead of, and also where we're behind, and where we need to redouble our efforts. But implementation is key on this, and this is taking a lot of internal management time and effort, because we do know that we're facing a significant issue here, and we want to give it our best shot.
Thanks for that. It's very interesting to hear about this circular packaging transformation journey that that you're on, and you touched upon a few aspects that I guess typically remain behind the scenes in terms of translating these targets into engaging all employees around the world with dedicated KPIs and breaking that down, building roadmaps. We've come to the end of this session. So for those of you that are watching, I'm sure many of you are on a similar journey. So I hope you found it useful to hear a bit more about Nestlé's journey and plans. And Mark, I'd like to thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to have you here with us. And I'm very much looking forward to continue working with Nestlé and continuing to accelerate this journey that we're on together to create a circular economy for plastic. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. And we very much working with the MacArthur Foundation. I think this whole combination of being realistic, but also being ambitious, that's the right combination that it takes to solve this problem. Thanks.
Thank you.